Well, hey, church family, Happy New Year. Hey, in this weekly update, I just want to take some time to mention a couple things that will help you engage the world around you in the new year. One of the things you'll notice about worshiping at Coram Deo is that some of what we do is fairly scripted, and that's by design, that's intentional. There's parts of our service where we just sort of want to be rehearsing some very similar themes and sort of treading some familiar ground, if you will. But we also try to freshen those up from time to time. And you'll notice if you were here or on the live stream today, the day that I'm recording this, which is January 3rd, I know you're not watching it till Monday, but you saw Mike, as he led our liturgy, talk about that when we gather in Christian worship, one of the things we're doing is rebelling against the scripts that our culture has given us or wants us to play by. And this morning we talked about the script of individualism. You're going to notice in 2021, we're going to mention a few of the ways that Christian worship is counterformative. We're trying to be specific about, hey, when we gather as God's people, here's some of the things we're trying to do that push against some of the cultural assumptions that are all around us that we sort of absorb without even knowing it. That change in our liturgy is actually sort of grounded by, or not really grounded in, but it was influenced by this book that I want to commend to you, The Rise and Triumph of the Modern Self. Did I get it up high enough? This book, The Rise and Triumph of the Modern Self by Carl Trueman. If you're looking for a good read to start the new year, I want to commend this book to you. It's not often that I say, hey, you should read this book. I do a lot of reading. It's part of my job and part of my role. But this is one of those books I think will be helpful for most Christians. Here's why. Because what Carl Trueman is doing in this book is he's telling us, hey, a lot of the things that swirl around us that we are perplexed about have to do with shifts in how we've come to understand the self. That's why he calls it the modern self, the rise and triumph of the modern self. What he's saying is, hey, there's a view of selfhood that we've come to accept as normal, but it actually has a history. And let me walk you through how we've gotten to this view of the self. The reason I think this book is really helpful is because it puts the focus in the right place. A lot of our conversations about sexual ethics, a lot of our conversations about community and the importance of the church, a lot of our conversations about spiritual formation are really at bottom conversations about the self and how the Bible's understanding of the self is quite different from the modern conception of selfhood. I think this book will help Christians understand that shift. And I think it's really important. One of the things we care about at Coram Deo is that we are wise and effective students of the world around us so that we can speak the gospel in intelligent ways. And so as you start a new year, I want to commend this book to you as a fruitful read for thoughtful Christian discipleship in the new year. Now, as you know, it's January, and so there's usually it's like, hey, it's a new year, here's all the new stuff we're doing. We're kind of still doing the same things that we're doing. And one of the things I want you to realize is we're just going to try to keep being faithful to the simple things the church has always done. Sunday worship and gospel communities, and that's kind of what we're sticking with for now. And we trust that as the year progresses and as we get into this new year, that we'll be able to embrace all kinds of opportunities. That's what we're hoping for and trusting for. But that all remains to be seen. So I hope you'll read this book. I hope you'll join with me as we continue to be formed by Christian worship in ways that are countercultural. And I look forward to seeing you next week as we continue our sermon series, Good News for the Weary. See you then.